Hello everyone, my name is Cameron Callan. This is the Cameron Callan Show. I appreciate you so much for watching. This video is about, the title of the article is The Right Sphere of Education, but this video is going to be about why the right does not like education. The reason why I like this news article is because the fellow who wrote it, Edwin Leingar, is a story. He's a veteran. He was in the military, and the way he tells the story is fascinating because it happens for so many military people to take kind of a long and circuitous route. He says, "My first college experience was failing half my classes at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 1992. The highlight was getting a D in English 101. Like many small-town kids, I was overwhelmed and underprepared. I dropped out of UNLV, joined the military, and got married. Being a 20-year-old father and enlisted man showed me exactly how not to live. So I started a backward, fumbling, and circuitous process of getting my undergraduate degree. In 7 years, I attended 4 community colleges, a university on a military base, and attended military journalism school. I pieced the whole mess into a bachelor's degree from Excelsior College, a credit aggregator that caters to military members. Modern conservative politics push the notion that people who flip switches, burgers, or bedpans don't need education. They instead need job training." And it goes on. And he talks about his difficulty to get education, how education helps society as a whole. He finishes the article with, "And to acknowledge the other side, education does help people find good, fulfilling jobs. Even my slapped-together bachelor's degree helped launch me into a career in public relations. The job has more than sustained me and my family, while also allowing me to explore my own outside interests. Some days I wish I could use my graduate education," he has a master's in English, "to find a full-time academic job, but I passed up too many opportunities and wasted too many years fumbling around. Academic jobs and humanities scholarships itself are under assault, just like so many other valuable parts of America. I'm probably a coward, but I also don't like the idea of leaving my long-time profession to start all over. Besides, there is inherent value to education even if someone isn't paying you for it. I know my life would be less satisfying without it. For instance, if I turned my back on education, I could have ended up as an ignorant asshole trying to turn back the very hands of human progress. Much like the party which I once belonged to." Now, that's the bookend of the story. He talks in the middle about why the right attacks education. And I growing up very conservative on the right, all this type of thing. I definitely grew up with a certain distrust and hatred for higher education. When I was sent off to college, particularly once I got to a public college, it was generally accepted. It's like, oh, you're conservative, you were raised the right way, so you'll be under attack and under assault, and people will criticize you, and if you stand up for what you believe in or your ideas, they'll give you bad grades and all this type of thing. And I won't say I didn't suffer some of that, particularly because I was markedly more conservative when I was in college than I am right now. And I definitely came under plenty of criticism from my friends for not being nearly liberal enough. And certainly in academia, that's an easy thing to do. However, the right's fear of education mostly has to do with they don't control the education system at all. There is a certain amount of I think, distrust because in an academic setting where you have intellectual curiosity, beliefs are not believed just because you have to defend them, you have to stand up for yourself, all this type of thing. A lot of the more crazy policies of the right and a lot of maybe dearly held religious beliefs just don't hold up under the kind of academic scrutiny that has come to become commonplace in academia. And this has been true on and time and again throughout different history where, a standard is set and new information then comes along and the old way of doing things just doesn't hold up. And with modern academia, it's very much the same thing. In the 50s, academia was very staid. It was very conservative. There were plenty of atheists and liberals in academia, but they were kind of on the outs, and then they became to ascendance, and now the conservatives are on the outs. And so this cycle continues, and and all this type of thing. But the point is, in this country, the Republican Party attacks education because, like, oh, well, we don't want to be giving out degrees people can't give jobs because we have all these college graduates and no jobs for them. And it's, it should be about job training and jobs. And I think they miss the critical part of education, is that not only does education supposed to help you get a job, it is also supposed to make you a better member of society. And, very crucially, that mission would not be nearly as onerous on the people who undertake it if we didn't saddle down all of our graduates with terrible debt. We're sending out people into the world, myself partially included, with thousands of dollars in debt at the moment of their life where they need the most freedom, they need the most flexibility, they need the most time to try different jobs and find their niche and then really get into earning those dollars. It's a really bad, compared to the rest of the world, it's a horrifically backward system, because the Republican Party does not realize that the jobs in our modern economy, the jobs where you don't need an education, are far and far fewer. If you want a good job in this country, you need some kind of skill. You need some kind of training. The chances to do that are limited. And so invariably you're going to end up doing some kind of school. Now, I'm a big fan of technical schools. I'm a big fan of vocational schools. I'm a big fan of bringing back apprenticeships. All things we should invest in. Couldn't agree more. I would even be okay with a wage subsidy for lower skilled workers so that they could get some skills. All wonderful government programs we should completely invest in, by the way. All things that we should do. However, the Republican Party doesn't want to do any of these things because they still go with this whole, well, you need to work your way up, all this type of thing, not realizing that tons of chances and funding and things were available to them that were just not made available to their kids, because everyone has a silly notion that unless you're working hard and kind of enslaving yourself to something, you'll never value it, and it's somehow not worth it, even though that's entirely not true for the millions that went to school after World War II on the GI Bill, the kids who went to California's university system before it charged tuition in the 60s and 70s. I don't think they valued their education or the hard work it takes to get one any less than someone who is $100,000 in debt. This valuation just does not make any sense. Again, the national discussion we should be having right now is, what kind of country do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a country where debt enslavement is the order of the day? Do we want to live in a country where we actually can have good lives? That is the fundamental discussion right now, at the core of everything. Do we want to live and actually live, or do we want to remain cogs in the American corporate machine? That, in my mind, is the seminal question at the heart of all of these ideas. The news articles will be in the description box. My name is Cameron Cowan. This is The Cameron Cowan Show. For your daily dose of news, please catch me on Twitter at Cameron Cowan. For news stories on Facebook, just like my page, facebook.com/The Cameron Cowan Show. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.